The last time I did a video on the best upcoming survival games, you guys loved it, but I wanted to make that list and video better. So here are the 8 best upcoming survival games of 2022 and 23. Number 8, Arctic Awakening, an open world story-rich game set in, well, the Arctic. Currently the game is very bare bones and the developers are still working on transforming concepts into the actual game, but it looks like heavy progress has already been made. Honestly, the reason why I included this game is because I really want a snowy first-person survivor game to hit the spot, because so far not many have. In fact, most of them fall really short and just end up with a severe lack of content, but we won't name any names. Arctic Awakening starts off similar to The Forest and many other games with a plane crash, but the real story is about finding your co-pilot, which I assume is that floating ballsack, right? Anyways, the graphics remind me a lot of Firewatch, so if the gameplay matches up to everyone's expectations, then this could be a banger for sure. But sadly, we won't know how good it really is until at least next year. Either way, it's time to talk about Number 7, Palworld, the modern day combination of Ark and Pokemon. Okay, it's more than that. The animals in this world are called pals, and you collect them, breed them, and as I said earlier, enslave them. Yes, they'll work in factories for little to no pay, fight for you after just meeting you, build for you with no architectural knowledge, and just pledge allegiance to whatever crazy plans you have in mind. I know this game is exactly what plenty of people have been waiting for, and I'll definitely try it out just to see how expansive the game really is. It seems to have almost everything you could think of and genuinely emulates a lot of chaos. I mean, when's the last time you saw 3 severely overweight sheep in a line wielding what appears to be a Negev? Yep, that's Palworld. There's definitely a bunch of weird shit going on here, but can you really complain if you can fly across the world on your own pet, be held hostage by emotionless bandits, and do almost anything you want? And the best part is that it's of course co-op. Now, I promise you the next few games are actually insane, so if you are enjoying, make sure you subscribe because I upload new survival games weekly. Number 6, Derelicts. The last time I spoke about this survival adventure game was at least 3 months ago on my first ever list, and since then it's made a ton of progress. The developer has showcased numerous insanely good looking locations which just perfect the post-apocalyptic vibe for me. But the best part is that the game is focusing massively on automation and machinery. Building looks to be reasonably advanced, and there are actual conveyor belts that transfer entire logs. There's also electricity, a dog you can pet, and weird ass looking creatures. And honestly, that's one thing I'm unsure about. I love this game, but I'm not much of a fantasy guy, so the pretty abnormal looking things can throw me off a little bit, but that definitely won't stop me from trying it out. Also, to many people's surprise, Derelicts is actually currently being developed mostly by one person, Romain. But don't worry, that doesn't mean the game won't be of high quality, but it does mean that you shouldn't expect this to be a AAA game with 0 bugs and an infinite world. Number 5, The Wandering Village. I'd be surprised if you said you hadn't heard or seen this one before, mainly because I think they already had an open beta, which many YouTubers played, but there's a reason this is one of the most wishlisted games on Steam right now, and I think that's because of the concept. It's so utterly unique and almost disturbing that you instantly want to know more. It definitely isn't like the rest of the games in this list, but I had to include some variety, and this sandbox survival game where you live off the back of a dragon ticked that box. There are of course a bunch of unique biomes, poisonous plants, and technology of the old world that you can research and unlock. I think if the gameplay and everything else matches the hype of this game, then it'll be a hit for sure. However, I will say this game is single player only, which might not be a bad thing. But since The Wandering Village is set to release literally next month in September, it won't be long before we find out how good the game really is. Number 4, Rooted. Another game that has featured on this channel before, but for good reason. Rooted is an open world post-apocalyptic game set far in the future. All the tools are super advanced and the technology from the past generation is still around, so we get to use all of that and more to survive in this pretty empty world. Rooted definitely has a long way to go gameplay wise, but already the visuals are some of the best I've ever seen. The building looks smooth, the movement is already as you'd expect good, and there seems to be even more machinery now. Windmills, solar panels, farming, and much more to be unveiled, I'm sure. I'm really hoping Rooted gets some sort of open beta later this year, but either way, keep a close eye out on this game because it could well become something special. One thing that has yet to be revealed though, as far as I'm aware, is the opposition. The enemies, something to combat your progress. I'm assuming zombies will play a part, if not that then maybe just other players, but but I genuinely cannot wait to find out. However, this is not the only insanely promising game on this list. In fact, I had to put Rooted 4th instead of the top 3 purely because of their development team being far smaller than others on this list. But now we get into the games that I'm not sure many others can compete with. Number 3, Sons of the Forest. The highly anticipated sequel to The Forest is just 2 months away now. The concept is the same. Cannibals everywhere you go, you land on the island, and your goal is to survive while finding people or things. The story for this game is still being theorized by almost everyone in the community though, and until the game comes out, the storyline will remain a mystery for the most part. But if you've never played the Forest genre before, then prepare yourself for probably one of the best survival horror experiences you'll ever have. There's building, realistic crafting, scavenging, changing seasons, and numerous weapons to survive with. Sons of the Forest is definitely one of the most exciting games of the year, with some of the best graphics and obviously a great reputation given how well received The Forest was. I mean, The Forest was literally released in 2018, over 4 years ago now, and still has 14,000 average concurrent players to this day, with a peak of 66k earlier this year in May. But we know how a lot of sequels can go. The expectations are higher than ever, the excitement is higher than ever, and anything less than perfect can be met with a bit of disappointment. That's just kind of how the gaming industry is, but I don't think that's much of a worry with Sons of the Forest. It'll be a good game, no doubt, and I can't wait to finally get into the Forest franchise. Number 2, Ark II. The second sequel in this video, but possibly the best. The Ark franchise is all about surviving on a completely unfamiliar planet with weird-ass animals and dinosaurs out to get you at every single turn. Ark 2 will simply take this Ark experience to the next level, with what is no doubt next-gen technology and much more. But one thing the developers have boasted about being much different is the combat. Ark 2 will provide Souls-like melee combat where you can charge up combos, staggers, special attacks, perform blocks, dodges, and more. One thing I hope Ark 2 does improve on though is the quality of life features though. Better building snap points is one thing I know a ton of people want, giving the AI more life than just moving and attacking, perhaps some sort of herding mechanism, or just social interaction between the animals. And I do think that Ark 2 will be filled with this kind of stuff. Just small improvements that will probably make this one of the best survivor games so far. And I couldn't talk about Ark sequel without praying on my knees that optimization is a top priority for the devs. Ark, like many survivor games, is known for its poor performance, so if that were improved even just slightly, then it'd be a massive plus. I know for a fact some of you probably fell into the Ark trap and probably have hundreds of hours registered, so if that's you, let me know in the comments. But I think it's time for possibly the most exciting game I've ever seen. Number 1, The Day Before. Another post-apocalyptic open-world survivor game to add to the list. But the quality of this game can't be understated. The graphics look insane, the world is huge, and if that isn't enough proof that this game is promising, well, The Day Before is the most wishlisted game on Steam right now. Everybody wants this thing, and to be honest, it is for sure my dream game. But there are worries that come with a game that almost looks perfect, right? The developers have a poor history, often abandoning games when the future isn't perfectly bright, and the game has already had its release date delayed a couple times, which now means it's set to release in March of 2023, which is surprisingly only 8 months away. The reason for most of these delays though, were because of the developers switching the game to Unreal Engine 5, which basically just uses next-gen technology to improve the graphics. And you can already see the graphics are next level. So if the gameplay, story, building, and whatever else this game has matches that, then this is surely gonna be an insane game. Which one of these are the best though? Comment below and join my Discord so we can talk about all of these games together as soon as they release.